I believe that men and women were equal, right?
Mhm.
So there were dates where I went on and I was like, well, why am I always paying for the first date and it possibly might not lead anywhere? You
Mhm.
might not hear from that woman again. Why am I always paying for the first date? But what I realized is they just talk that they want equality, but it's only equality in situations that benefit them.
Yeah.
When it's a situation that doesn't benefit them, they'll try to use words that are going to either guilt you into paying or
There
make you
you go.
think or emasculate you.
Yes,
So when
sir.
she said a man would pay or a man would plan the date, we start talking about traditional men, and that's essentially what she was referring to. You being a traditional man, right? And men not being traditional, and men not being chivalrous. We live in a different time.
Mhm.
We live in modern times where we're dealing with modern women and you're dealing with modern men, but they still want to be respected like a traditional woman, but they're not traditional themselves. How many
One.
of the women are actually preserving their sexuality? How many women are actually embracing their femininity?
Yeah.
No, instead, she took the money from you that you got and decided to make a masculine choice on her own. So how
Yeah.
can she talk about you being a man when she wasn't even a traditional woman? That
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm talking about?
100%. And you hit the nail right on the head too. It's a lot of intangibles that I want to impact in that. So I had this conversation with somebody just yesterday, and I told them that me personally, I feel like men and women are equal, but we're different. It's kind of like if you ask two people for $1 and one person gives you $1 bill and the other person gives you 4 quarters. That is
Mhm.
equal, but it is different. So the dollar is ink and paper. The quarters are foil and the color, the material, but both of those two things are equal in value. And the reason that we don't see the equality the way that this is where us men have to take accountability right here is because we'll hear a woman say or do something that we know is against our moral compass,
Mhm.
but we'll be so blinded by her beauty or we'll be so skewed by the fact that we don't have as many options as we should have.
Yeah.
So if you only talk to 3 women and 2 of those women are exhibiting bad behavior, you don't want to just have one woman that you talk to. So you will try to bear with the bad
Mhm.
behavior, hope that it gets better. When at the end of the day, if I live how I want to live, drive what I want to drive, on my purpose like I'm supposed to be, my social media is booming, everything is going well, then that 3 turns into 300.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to bear with any woman's bad energy. So now the women that do come my way, they love me. They look at me like I'm their dream guy. They walk into my house with a subservient disposition to where they immediately want to clean. They immediately want to go do the dishes. They want to cook. They don't even want to walk in my house without groceries because they know that as a woman, that's not a feminine thing to do. They want to greet you whenever they see you. They want to have positive energy. And when you deal with too many women because you don't have the option of the women that you actually want, sometimes we become jaded to believe that this is what the new thing is when nothing really has ever changed. It's just the fact that we've accepted more BS that we didn't have to accept
Yeah.
because of the traditional, non-traditional intangibles of the current, I'm not even gonna say dating market, I'm gonna just say current universe that we live in as a whole. And it's really not until I meet women of different cultures that I talk to, when I see the way that they look at me, just the eye contact, when I feel the disposition and when they talk and when it's my turn to talk, and I see how they pretty much have a visual notepad and they're taking notes of everything that I say, as opposed to the American woman that is completely pushing away all the ideas of progression when it comes to the masculine man because they want, and this I'm gonna tie this back to the equal part right here. The feminist movement is not for equality.
It's
The
not.
feminist movement is for the opportunity to have unfair advantages in loophole situations. So you may not ever make it to the NBA as a woman, but if you marry a man who is an NBA player, you now have all the perks of a man that has sacrificed his entire life to earn an NBA salary.
Mhm.
And when the marriage is over, you now continue to have all the perks of a man who has sacrificed his entire life to have an NBA salary. And any woman who agrees with these practices are women that we need to strongly ignore because women love attention and validation. If a woman is twerking right in front of you and you walk away, she'll stop. And I think that that's a huge element that we have missed because as men, we never knew how important our attention and validation was from the beginning.
So true. we didn't know that our attention is currency. Going back to your point, how like women and men are equal but different, right? I'll say this. I think that men and women are not equal. I think we're complementary. So we fit together like a puzzle piece. Like we're like the universe and God, whoever you believe in, put us here together for a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
right? It wasn't for us to be running next to each other. It was for us, for us to be in, groups, but for someone to take the lead and others to follow. There has to be some type of submission in a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one thing I realized talking to women is that they will say that they want to go 50-50 with a man. Like I don't care about paying half the rent. I don't care about paying half for the dates. But when you give them the option of a man who will pay for everything, they respect the man who will go 50-50 less, and they will do more for the man who's willing to pay for everything and willing to provide for them, and say that their femininity is conditional because there's men out there who just want to go 50-50.
Okay, well let me tap into that right quick.